2013 countries in Europe and Central Asia agreed to work together to include all children in quality learning. But what does this mean? Inclusive education is where school work to include each and every child in learning. Inclusive schools celebrate difference, respond to individual needs, and encourage learning. Why is inclusive education important? Education is fundamental right for every child, and it's a smart investment. It means more productive society, less unemployment, and higher economic growth. And inclusive school help create cohesive society. Invest in including all children in quality learning.
How can we as teachers create an inclusive classroom environment that engages all of our students in the learning process, and not just those who are already engaged and participating? When classrooms are not intentionally designed to be inclusive, then a few student voices tend to dominate. How can we avoid this and accommodate and engage each student's unique learning needs? Let's start by considering what an inclusive classroom looks like. An inclusive classroom is one in which all students feel intellectually supported and are invited to develop a sense of belonging regardless of identity, learning preferences, or background. To achieve this, we need to develop a number of key characteristics. For example, in an inclusive classroom, all students have opportunities to actively participate. All students can make a personal connection to the course material. All students have the time to think. All students can pose ideas and construct their knowledge of the course content, and all students are explicitly welcomed into the intellectual discussion of the course content. Let's unpack each of these characteristics. Providing all students with the opportunity to actively participate is important because learning is not just an act of passively receiving knowledge. It is an act of constructing meaning and involves a student's active engagement and participation. To do this, we need to address the anxieties that can prevent students from engaging. For instance, many students find it intimidating to answer or pose questions while they are still trying to understand the material. This can make them hesitant to speak up in class. Additionally, many students, particularly those from historically underrepresented or marginalized backgrounds, may feel anxious about being judged. This can also put them in a vulnerable position if they need to answer questions while still trying to learn the material. We can help to dispel these concerns by explicitly inviting our students to contribute their thoughts, questions, and ideas, no matter where they are on their journey of understanding. To do so, we must intentionally establish the classroom tone such that students feel that their questions and ideas will always be engaged with respectfully and thoughtfully. One simple way to do this is to take a moment to appreciate and validate every question they ask. Now, verbal participation is often the most common way students are asked to engage during class. However, is it always the best option for every topic or for every student? Consider how some students may be better at expressing their understanding by drawing illustrations or making diagrams like concept maps. Other students may prefer expressing their understanding in writing, rather than speaking about it in front of the class. This highlights the importance of offering students other ways to express their knowledge, thoughts, and questions. For example, you may end every class with a few minutes of writing time in which students write down one important thing they learned that day and one thing they have a question about. Another option is to provide students with a thought-provoking question and to ask them to write their responses in a class discussion forum asynchronously. Offering our students multiple ways to participate in class is not only equitable and inclusive, but it also helps them to develop a wider range of communication skills. Let's move on to another characteristic of an inclusive classroom, providing all students with the opportunity to make a connection to the course material. Students will feel more motivated to understand the material if they can personally connect to it and see how it applies to something they care about. It is important to note that students have different interests, values, and backgrounds, so incorporating culturally diverse role models and values into your course helps more students to see themselves in the discipline. Now, it may not be possible to represent every student's cultural background, but making a wide range of culturally diverse connections to the course material demonstrates to your students that diverse perspectives are valued in your classroom. We should also try to apply the course content to a diverse array of real-world examples to help every student see how the course material relates to their own experiences and interests. For example, if you describe a concept in chemistry, consider also relating it to biology, medicine, food, art, charity or social work, history, etc. Different students will find different applications of the course material meaningful and relevant. Another key aspect of fostering an inclusive classroom is ensuring that all students have the time to think through in-class questions. For example, consider a scenario in which an instructor asks the question and calls on the first or second student who raises their hand. If the student answers correctly, the teacher may just move on with the lesson. In this example, while one or two students had enough time to think through the question, it is not clear whether the rest of the class had the time to fully process it. To help in this situation, we can turn to active learning techniques such as a 1-minute essay or a think, pair, share. These activities effectively provide a minute or two for all the students to think about the question and participate in the learning process before asking anyone to answer. Another strategy is to tell the students that you won't call on anyone until you see a certain number of hands raised. Techniques like these provide enough time for all the students to think through a question, which increases the number of students who are willing to participate in class discussions. Active learning also helps to provide all students with the opportunity to construct their knowledge of the course content, which is another characteristic of an inclusive classroom. When using active learning, teachers take on the role of facilitators, presenting the students with challenging problems and coaching them to apply the skills and concepts taught in the class to solve them. To achieve this, you can use active learning techniques like anonymous polling, group problem solving, concept mapping, statement corrections, and sequence reconstructions. These techniques enable each student to apply what they've learned to solve a problem and to construct their understanding of the material as they do so. Using a variety of different techniques can help to reach more students because certain techniques may work better for some students than others. This approach also has the benefit of helping students to explore a concept from different perspectives, which means they can make deeper connections between ideas. Finally, in an inclusive classroom, all students are explicitly welcomed into the intellectual discussion of the course content. This characteristic makes use of many of the others we've spoken about, providing all students the time to think, giving students opportunities to develop their own understanding of the material together through active learning exercises, and creating a culture that ensures that students feel comfortable contributing and asking questions. Together, these characteristics all contribute to a classroom where students know their voices and ideas are respected and valued. An inclusive classroom fosters mutually respectful relationships between students while engaging everyone in the learning process.
In this video, we'll explore inclusive learning at Insantama Primary School, and we interview with teacher and student to understand their experience. And let's get started. Inclusive learning is an educational approach that recognizes and accommodates the diverse needs, ability, and background of all students. It ensures that every learner, regardless of their learning style, cultural heritage, or special needs, and feel valued, supported, and included in the classroom. And the goal is to create an environment where everyone can participate fully and achieve their potential while fostering respect and understanding among peers. In Insantama Primary School, teachers employ a variety of methods to accommodate different learning styles, and they use lecture, educational games, video watching, and group discussion to keep students engaged and make learning more effective. And teachers observe each student's learning preference, whether auditory, visual, or kinesthetic, and tailor their approach accordingly to ensure everyone can follow along. And furthermore, teachers take proactive steps to address bullying, creating a safe and respectful environment for all students, and they foster an atmosphere where students feel support and any conflict are resolved promptly. And the school also implement programs like BSI, berbasis spiritual Islam, and which not only teach academic subject but also emphasize character development, helping students grow into a compassionate and respectful individual.
Based on the students' experiences, there is a strong sense of comfort and acceptance at Insantama Primary School. The students feel that bullying is not a practice in their school, and they are able to interact freely and confidently with peers from various cultural backgrounds. This inclusive atmosphere encourages mutual respect, and the students understand that the value of embracing differences rather than letting them create barriers. Students also appreciate the friendship they have with classmates from different regions, and they recognize the importance of respecting each other's cultures and tradition. This acceptance fosters a sense of unity where everyone is encouraged to be themselves without fear of being judged or excluded. It is clear that the students not only tolerate but celebrate diversity, which contributes to a positive and supportive school culture. Moreover, inclusive education is particularly beneficial for students with special needs, or ABK. The students with ABK are not left behind. Instead, they are given the motivation and support they need to excel in their studies. Their classmates understand that each person has unique challenge and strengths, and they work together to create a learning environment where everyone can succeed. This collaborative spirit ensures that no one feels excluded, and every student is encouraged to achieve their potential.
Inclusive education at Insantama Primary School plays a crucial role in fostering empathy, understanding, and personal growth for both teacher and student. And teachers not only adapt their teaching methods to accommodate these diverse learning styles,
but they also help build a safe and supportive environment where every student feels valued. This approach encourages mutual respect and understanding among peers, regardless of their background or abilities. For students, inclusive education empowers them to develop stronger social skills, empathy, and a sense of responsibility toward their classmates. They learn to appreciate diversity, respect difference, and work together to overcome challenges. This creates a community where all students, whether with special or needs or not, feel supported and motivated to reach their full potential.
Imagine a classroom where every student's unique learning style is celebrated. At Insantama Primary School, teachers use diverse methods such as storytelling, educational games, group discussion, and even multimedia tools to ensure that every student stays engaged. For instance, some students might prefer listening to stories during a lesson, while others might learn better through hands-on activities or collaborative projects. By combining this approach, teachers make sure that no child is left behind. Moreover, inclusion is not just about academics, but it's about social harmony. In one example shared by a teacher, when conflict arises among students, they are resolved immediately through open dialogue and understanding. This helps students learn the value of respect and teamwork. Inclusive learning is more than just a method of teaching. It's a philosophy that embraces diversity in the classroom. By creating a learning environment that accommodates students of different abilities, learning styles, and cultural backgrounds, we ensure that every child has an equal opportunity to thrive. Research has shown that inclusive education improves social skills, fosters empathy, and enhances academic achievements, not just for students with special needs, but for all students in the classroom. At Insantama Primary School, this philosophy is deeply integrated into the daily teaching practices. Teachers observe and adapt to the needs of their students, while programs like BSI or Berbasis Spiritual Islam reinforce moral values and character building. Through these efforts, Insantama Primary School not only educates but also prepares students to become compassionate, responsible, and respectful members of society.
Inclusive learning is a journey where we all grow together.
Let's support and celebrate diversity in every classroom.